Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to the Pittsburgh Industrial Railroad and the Horseshoe Curve. Today is going to be a bit of a different live show. I decided we're going to do our first Meet the YouTuber, and I got a different setup going on today. So I got my PTF Designs board behind me with the backdrop I had at the train show yesterday, and it's got the LEDs lit up on it. Figured that could be kind of a cool background way to kind of advertise the building flats as well as do something for the community here, and just kind of wait and see who else we got coming on. We got Slag Cat. Hello, buddy. And GRP 24 says groovy. There it is, groovy. And we have Algieri, Brian Rock Railfan. Lance's Train says, yo, what's up, bud? And Jake Lamanak, Jackson Engel, Wesley's Trains. How you doing, Wesley? I saw Wesley yesterday at the train meet, the TCA train meet. It was nice to meet you. Oh, actually, I met you once before, so that was the second time we met. It was good to talk to you, buddy. Reading Railroad fan and Zeppel fan 413, Ken Munoz, Southern Yankee Railroad, also known as Catnuts 911, Felix, the Rail Fanner, and Plane Spotter. Real quickly, guys, I just want to show you. I have my new hoodie on. It's PTF Designs hoodie. The color kind of came out a little bit duller than the T-shirts for some reason. So I'm gonna see if I can talk to Teespring about getting that color a little bit more vibrant on the next run. So I'll see how that goes. GRP 24 says, thanks for doing the show today. Look forward to them every week. Cool. Thank you, buddy. I look forward to it too. It's fun and it's a good way to talk to people and just kind of connect with everybody who's into the hobby. So again, this is one of my first times doing this. So Wrestle Puck says hi there. Sierra de Hobo says howdy, Nick. How are you this fine Sunday? I'm good. I'm good. Thanks, buddy. Let's see. Carrie Keene is here. Lance's Train says the video looks foggy. So I don't know. Maybe if the cameras, it could be the light from the window back there. See if I can it might be flooding the camera too much. Anyway, so we're going to do about an hour show here and go till right around 5 p.m. And I'm going to be introducing a good friend of mine who we kind of connected through a couple different resources and avenues, but looks like he's ready to go here. We'll bring him up. Guys, meet Real Toy Trains. This is Brian. How you doing, Brian? What's going on? Vincent's. Hello. Thank you, buddy. So Brian is tell us a little bit about what you're doing with YouTube and how you got started into YouTube.
Yeah, definitely, man. So I was always intrigued by yourself in particular, and then the host of other guys that are doing it, and watching everything else that we're into, cars, things like that. And I have enough. I think I have enough of the hobby to kind of start, getting going and things like that. So. You've got yourself a good nickname, Nick, the train pusher. So now I have even more trains. So yeah, and it's I love what you did with your channel. You kind of get everybody else to watch what was going on, and also you can document it. So I'm sure when you look back on your older videos, you're like, wow, this is how far you've come.
Yeah. So you're an O scaler also. So tell people, what got you into O scale trains to begin with.
Yeah, so definitely Christmas time, with my father and my stepfather, they both had O scale trains. My father had a Scout set that was always around the Christmas tree, and my stepfather had a couple of Scout sets. He had the New York Central post-war F3 ABA set that still in the box, and one of these days I'll reveal it to the channel. But it's in pretty good shape. You know, it's got the magnet traction and stuff like that. So nice set.
That'd be
And
awesome.
you know, I had HO as a kid. I think that you had. Did you say you had HO, or was it always O scale yourself?
I was always O
Yeah.
scale. Yeah.
So I mean, and the HO was cool, but when I got a little bit older and stuff like that, and I saw how the O scale advanced with all the controls, MTH and line out, you know, legacy, I was like, I'm hooked. This is
It's
great.
crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
So, so you mentioned Lionel and MTH. What kind of engines do you or trains do you usually buy, or particularly?
So I think before I met you, I just had all MTH. Um, that's what I started out with, and then talking to you and other people, and just kind of like on the forums and Facebook and things like that, YouTube, you know, of course. You just kind of get to see how the legacy is advanced a little bit more than MTH. So, um, you know, I guess the funds allowed me to get some, you know, buy the legacy and then grab some trains and things like that. So,
For sure.
and you know, I think they both have their pros and cons. Like I was talking with Crossroad Anchors about that, but you know, I do like the Lionel when it comes to steam engines. Of you know, I mean, they're just so far ahead of the game when it comes to the whistle steam and the ring and bell and just all the other stuff. You know,
Yeah.
that's just got me bitten. So I'm always hunting for the next steam engine.
Heck yeah.
You know.
Well, I know that you were an engineer. Tell people about how you used to be a train engineer. That's an awesome story.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna turn you up real quick. Something just happened in my house. I think the tub's on. Sorry.
That's all right.
There we go.
Slackcat says, "Good, the Bungles lost.
The bungle's lost.
The Bungles lost."
Yeah, that was a close one actually, wasn't it? I think
I wasn't
New England
watching. I was
just
running around today.
yeah. I think that was pretty close actually.
So
Um,
yeah, tell us about the how you used to be a train engineer.
yeah, so I that was kind of like my dream job, you know, to work for CSX, and when I got there, it was like, you know, I finally got hired. It sounded great because they're like, you know, we're gonna pay for you to go to school 6 weeks in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm from Boston, clearly, and you know, so they paid for my flight down. They paid for all my food, per diem food. They paid for my extended stay hotel. They paid for school, um, just like a free ride through there. And school was tough, you know what I mean. I met a lot of good people, a lot of kids from down south and stuff like that. They were always making fun of my accent. Um, but it was pretty tough because I mean you had to learn Conrail signals, which I'm sure a lot of these guys know that the Conrail signals, especially in the Northeast, are pretty mixed up between um, you know whatever the Northeast signals were, and then some I think some Reading signals, Pensy signals. Because at the time when I was there, I'm not sure if it's changed now, but you know, the signals were kind of mixed, so it's like you had to learn everything. Um, and that was verbatim. So you had to know the rules of each signal verbatim, and if you didn't get 100 on it, you didn't pass. So
Oh wow.
yeah, it was kind of nerve wracking. Um, but then when I got to Boston, I hired out of Boston Beacon Park Freight Yard, and when I got there, they're like, "Well, this yard's going to close in about a month, and everything's going to move to Worcester," which to at that point was about an hour's drive for me, and you know that was a little tough pill to swallow, knowing that I wasn't going to be working in Boston when I wanted to. And a lot of the guys that worked there were kind of older Conrail heads, older guys that you know they see the new kids come in and they're like, "We don't want to teach you anything, you know, you're gonna have to learn all yourself. This job stinks, this and that." So I think the nail in the coffin was, um, you know, it's not an easy job for a family guy because you're working mostly overnights and you work holidays, birthdays, things like that. Um, but I would be so I would take a train from Worcester to Selkirk, New York, and overnight, then have to stay in a hotel during the day and try to sleep. And so I'd be in New York, and the train calls would call me. Mind you, CSX is in Florida, so I have a lady calling me from Florida, and she says, "Okay, Brian, I need you to get on a train in Boston and take it to New York." And I'm like, "Well, I'm in New York right now." And she's like, "No, you're in Boston." I'm like,
Oh,
if I could show you the hotel room in New York, I would. And then click, she just hangs the phone up, and I'm like, "All right, so what do I do now?" And it's just it was a mess. So
wow.
I can see why the railroads are kind of taking a nosedive because of the way they're being run right now, which is a terrible shame.
Right.
So that's the story with CSX.
You
Um,
said that you used to drive a trolley too, right?
yeah, so that was an interesting job too. I drove the Green Line in Boston, which is considered the subway, but it runs it's streetcars. So instead of like a string of subway cars, it'll be like one, two, or three streetcars all connected. And of course, the driver is in control of the train in his doors, but there'll be like co-pilots on each other car. So if there's three cars, there's three conductors, I guess you can call, or operators, and the person in the second car has no control of the train, but they have to control their doors, and then the third car is the same. So, but yeah, the street and there's actually a couple of spots in Boston where the streetcars still drive on the street with traffic,
Oh
um,
wow.
which is pretty freaking hair raising when you're driving a humongous trolley through the streets of Boston. Um, especially you have pedestrians walking all over the place and things like that. But one of the coolest things was I remember driving the trains in Boston is there's a Fenway stop, and when you pull up into Fenway, um, and there's a game that just got out, all the baseball fans get out. You open the doors, and all you can smell is like the like all the food being cooked, close to Fenway, which makes you hungry. But like the sausages and the hot dogs, things like that. And then of course all the fans get on, everybody's drunk and stuff like that. People are hanging all over you. Um, but yeah, I mean that was a pretty cool job. The only problem with that one was it's a split shift, so they make you work in the morning for like 4 or 5 hours, and then you have about 6 hours off. Then you have to go back to work during rush hour, and you have to work that until work about 10, 12 years, get some seniority worked up and things like that. So, but it's the oldest subway in the country. So I mean, when you go down
Oh,
into the tunnels, it's everything is still pretty much the same as it was whenever it was first built. It's
right.
pretty cool.
So you were saying that how there was pedestrians. It came to my mind like you had to stop that streetcar. How hard is it to get it to stop fast?
I, I'll tell you right now, man. I almost killed like I can't even count actually more than all the fingers in my toes. And these days everybody walks around with the earbuds in, and I
Yep.
can find myself guilty of that too. But if I don't have them in, if I'm if I'm walking next to train tracks or if I'm on a busy street, and it's like you're not allowed to. The streetcars aren't allowed to use their horns unless it's absolutely necessary. They have what's called a gong, which is kind of like it's it's a it's not even it doesn't even sound like a bell on a train, but it is a bell. And it makes you ring it as you come into the station. But the Green Line is everything is street level. There's not any raised platforms like on a commuter rail or a subway. So everybody's just there's pedestrians everywhere. So you have to be very very cautious. Thankfully, I didn't hit anybody, but
Yeah.
I've definitely heard some horror stories. And the trolleys actually when the tracks when they if it starts to rain out and the tracks just get wet, all the oil raises up from the railhead, and at that minute it's like you could step on the brakes and the train just keeps sliding. It's crazy.
Oh, that's crazy.
So you have to apply the sand and stuff like that to the rails, and the sand helps a little bit. And then once the rails get wet, like soaked, it's like driving on dry tracks again. It's kind of funky like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. So I take it then you like trains a lot then.
Yeah. Yep. They're pretty cool. Yeah.
So tell everybody about what you're planning with to do with your channel on YouTube.
Yeah. So I mean, I think I've pretty much gotten as far as I can get with the workbench behind me. You know, I mean, I try to get I try to get some good angles and run the trains. Um, I guess you could say prototypically, or just like good angles where people would want to see. Especially like the tank engine and stuff like that I just got. Um, but I finally got a chance to kind of clear out the basement, and actually, my friend and I just measured. I think it's 15 by 28 is going to be the size of the layout. So, and that's not including what's behind me. I think I'm going to I'm still going to run the tracks on the workbench. I'm just undecided if it's going to be like a full yard or just a couple of like staging tracks or places to work on the trains. But but yeah, the layout's going to be awesome. It's a big figure eight with a couple of reverse loops built in, and the reverse loops are actually kind of hidden, but then like they're in sight, but you kind of can't tell that they're a reverse loop, which works out pretty good, Um, and it's loosely modeled after a place about 10 minutes south of Boston called Reedville, which I used to go to all the time and watch Conrail trains and I do remember as being a really young kid seeing some black locomotives. So those are probably old Penn Central engines. I'm 41 now, so probably makes sense. Um, but yeah, it's crazy that Reedville was in its day like just you could see Conrail trains coming from every direction, mixed with Amtrak trains and Boston commuter rail. And now you go there, it's like you're lucky to see 10, 15 box cars or lumber cars or things like that sitting in the yard. It's just so sad. It's unbelievably sad compared to what it used to be.
So
So
did you always grow up in the Boston area?
yeah, so for the Boston area, I had a little stint in Rhode Island for a little while, which was cool because I lived in Newport, which is part of the Aquidneck Island, and they have a tourist train in Newport, kind of to go off a little bit, um, and it's landlocked because the bridge they had like a rotating swing bridge that the New Haven used to get down into Newport, but that got hit with a barge, and ever since it was unoperational, they just landlocked the line. So, but what got stuck down there was a couple of old Navy 44 tonners. So that was kind of like the reason why I bought the New Haven MTH 44 tonners, because I always was around those for a lot when I was a kid, and I was kind of intrigued because they was different than a lot of other engines, how they could go either way pretty easily, or that design with center cab. So,
Right.
but that was cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
So are you on your railroad, are you planning to model uh, railroads that are local to you there in the Boston area?
Yeah, definitely. So New Haven, Conrail, CSX. I'd like to get my hands on. MTH made a couple of the NBTA commuter rail F40s. It's like they're silver with a purple stripe going through them.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple other guys that have done some like custom, passenger cars from the commuter rail. So one of these days, maybe I'd like to come across something like that. But I got my eye on a couple other. I think we were talking about the 10-wheeler. What is it? The Boston and Maine, is it? The
Boston and
Pioneer's coming
Maine.
out with? Yeah, that thing's gonna be cool.
That's the
So
is that the 10-wheeler?
yeah, the 10-wheeler.
Yeah.
Right. So so yeah, definitely. I like the model the Boston area, South Shore Boston, and I'm gonna try to do like maybe half the layout summertime, and then the other half with like the fall trees, because we get the fall trees up here with the nice leaves, things like that. So
That's awesome.
yeah,
Is there a specific season that you're thinking of modeling on the layout, or is it just going to be
yeah, definitely. Definitely, I'd like to do mostly fall. You know, I mean, I know that. Well, actually, I mean, I would like to do all fall. I'll probably start out with fall, and then if it looks good, I'll just run with it. You know.
You got to have a little summer scene with the beach, though.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. If I can get my hands on the Lionel lighthouse that you were showing me, that thing's awesome. You know, with the seagulls in the background, and we'll have to find some bikini girls for the beach. You know.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yep, absolutely.
Nice little ocean scene with the waves crashing in.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
So if you guys have any questions for Brian here at Real Toy Trains, throw them up in the comments section, and we'll keep going here. We're gonna go for like another half an hour, and try to wrap it up by 5 p.m. here Eastern.
Definitely.
So Brian, what kind of track system are you using on your new layout?
So I started out with Atlas, and I got some Atlas switches. I was going to kind of copy the there's a YouTube channel called Door Layout. I think you've seen it, Nick, right?
Yeah.
And this guy did a really cool smaller O gauge layout, and he used all Atlas tracks. So I was gonna somewhat copy that. And when I in my previous house, I had some fast track, but mostly tubular track, and I just had the worst luck with the tubular track switches. You know, back in if I was doing switching, and I feel like the trailing truck of the steam locomotives would always pop off the track and stuff like that. You know, so make a long story longer, I'm gonna go with the Gargraves track and the raw switches.
Cool.
I just actually saw, I think it was on my way home from West Virginia. I was going blogging, and I guess you can use the Atlas rail joiners with the Ross and the Gargraves track, so they can you don't have to buy like a piece of track that mates them together. They can they can actually fit together pretty easily. So
it's a connecting piece.
Yeah, yeah. So I might use a little bit of Atlas here and there, but I think for the most part it'll be the Gargraves and Ross.
So. Cool. So Mike from Crossed Anchors asked if you're going to be doing any more trips planned in your future.
So I don't know if we have anything in the budget for the rest of the year, because we have 4 kids, and all of our kids' birthdays are in November, except for one of the oldest boys in December. So of course we have all these birthdays in November, and then one in December, and then Christmas, Thanksgiving. You know, sometimes Halloween becomes another Christmas because the wife wants to buy them toys and stuff like that. So it's like nothing planned, like type of like far distance. I just did see that in South Boston there's a retired Conrail caboose, and I think it's like a Pennsy style Conrail caboose.
Oh,
it's
nice.
on the end of a rail trail that they made through East Boston that used to have tons of freight trains, but all those tracks are gone. But apparently they left a Conrail caboose there, so I think I might go do like maybe an unboxing in front of it, or maybe just go check it out and take some video of it, But I looked at Google Maps last night, so if it was true, because I just saw a quick picture of it, and I found it on Google Maps, so I'm definitely gonna go head over there and get some shots of it,
Yeah.
But any type of like rail fanning, long distance trips, nothing planned as of yet. So.
Trainman Dan says, "How big is your layout?"
So it's going to be what did I say? 28 by 15.
Yeah. And then Stephen Long says, "Brian, let's see your layout, but your layout is not under construction as of yet. You're just doing your track plan right now."
Yeah. So if you want to see the layout or the track plan, you can check out my 100 subscriber video. That at the end of the video there, it shows I have all the track kind of laid out on the floor, and I kind of go over quickly talk about it. You know, how the trains can kind of reverse direction, and I show the Y that I'm planning on doing. So
that's gonna be awesome.
You guys check that out. And the next couple of videos, I'm sure the next video on the layout will probably be like the bench work starting and things like that. So yeah, Jason there was I just watched one of his videos. JD Stux, is that right?
JD Stux, yeah.
He's doing a great job with his bench work. So
I saw the he sent me a picture of it. I didn't get a chance to watch his video yet.
Yeah,
But it looks awesome.
It's definitely a good inspiration, you know.
Yeah, yeah, it's for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
We've got another question here from Gus Hadley, the lunatic from Arno. Hey, Brian, was the 10-wheeler, was that a 10 Williams 10-wheeler, Boston to Maine? So I think we were talking about a Lionel.
Yeah.
It was a Lionel Legacy 10-wheeler.
Right. They just they haven't come out yet, right?
No. I don't think they're due until next summer.
Yeah.
Because I considered getting one, and from what I recall, the ship date was right around the same time as the Lionel Legacy S2.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, S1, not S2. And it was, yeah, I didn't want to load up my schedule with with trains shipping.
Right. That's kind of like what happened to me when I ordered the tank engine from my local hobby shop. You know, I was calling, and you know, he's like, I haven't heard anything from Lionel. I've called for you a couple times. So then I think you and I were chatting that one day about going up to Charles. I was close to Charles Row in Malden, and they had the main central mallet, and that was a little bit more money than the tank engine, but you know, I think I got a wild hair across my ass, and I'm like, you know what, I really want a Lionel Legacy engine, so I went up there and I bought the mallet from Charles Row, and wouldn't you know, like I think it was either the next day or 2 days later, my hobby shop called me and said, hey, your tank engine's in. I'm like, geez, my credit cards are going to be pretty hot. So yeah, now we got both of them. But that's a pretty funny story, you know. I feel like that's the way it goes. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
What is there any particular engine? I know you said a little earlier in the show, FP40s that you're kind of got your eye on. Is there anything that's like your number one engine that you want to have in the future?
So yeah, I mean the 10-wheeler that's coming out, I'm holding off for that. But then, you know, just being up in West Virginia, was it 2 days ago, to see all the you know, the Cass Scenic Railroad. I'm like hankering for a Shea or a Climax, you know what I mean? Because we have a Taurus Railroad in New Hampshire, which is one state above us, and they have a Shea and a Climax. And I remember being up there as a kid, seeing the Climax run, but you know, I don't remember it just being a little kid, but being out at Cass, and I actually got to ride in the car, like right up front to the engine, to the engine, because it was a double header. It was two Shays pushing us up the mountain, and I mean that just feeling of power and heat and steam and everything else was just insane. I mean, I was thoroughly impressed, because I mean, even, you know, me working at CSX, I've been in some pretty stout engines like the A6000 and things like that. But I mean, if anybody gets the chance to go to Cass to see what they do over there, it's very impressive, and all the guys are friendly. I was talking to the engineer and asking him questions and things like that. And at the end of all my questions, I'm like, how many times have people asked you these questions? He's like, and he was like 26 years old, you know. He's like, probably like a million. He's like, but I love it, man. You know, he's like, and you know, you work at CSX. He's like, I like talking to you about it because you can relate maybe a little bit more than somebody else. You know, who knows? But yeah, everybody's really friendly. And if we have time, I'm not sure if I told you this, Nick, but my wife got me that trip for Christmas last year, and she bought a gift certificate to Cass. However, she didn't book any trips, and this is like the busiest season. Sometimes they actually book out a year in advance because of it's just so beautiful with the leaves and things like that.
Yeah.
So when we got there, I was talking to the people, and they literally were like laughing in my face. Not to be mean, but just like, you guys didn't buy tickets. Like, we're sold out. Like, we have nothing. So my wife's obviously, she's just dying because we've been waiting since Christmas to go here. So then she's like, the best I can do is take your name down. I'm like, can you call me if there's a cancellation? And she's like, honey, there's no signal out here. And she's right. There is no cell coverage in that part of West Virginia.
Oh no.
So she's like, just come every morning. If there's a cancellation, we'll get you on. So we got there on Friday, and I was talking to another gentleman who I think was like a manager. And as we're walking up, he's giving us a thumbs up that he got us on the train. And man, that was like the best feeling in the world. Because I'm like, I can't believe we made it all the way to Cass, West Virginia, and I can't ride this freaking train, So, but it worked out in the end. And I got some really good video of that. I got some cool pictures. I put some stuff up here and there, and that video will be coming out soon too.
Cool. Yeah. Looking forward to that for sure.
Definitely.
So Gus Hadley, the lunatic from Arno, asks, is Charles Row open to back up?
I don't know if it's open to the public in terms of going into the store. When I bought the mallet, it was like a customer, a curbside pickup, which is funny because I've been to a bunch of different hobby shops and train stores in Mass, and everybody's open to the public. You have to wear masks and things like that. But Charles Row is strictly curbside, which is crazy because they're the biggest around, and they have so much stuff that, like, even they have aisles of things that you wouldn't think of buying on the internet for curbside pickup, but if you were going to the store, you might pick them out. You know what I mean? So I thought it was a little strange, but still good guys over there.
That's awesome. Wesley asked, how was it riding the Acela?
That was an experience too. I've only been on the commuter, like the fastest I've ever been in a train. CSX, we might get to 60, 65. The commuter rail, 80 miles an hour in Boston on a good stretch of track. But 150 miles an hour on a train is pretty intense.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And I've been pretty fast in cars and motorcycles. We won't say how fast. And it wasn't Mexico, by the way. But to be in like an apparatus that big, and you're just looking out the window at everything going past you at 150, it's just like it's definitely like a surreal feeling, And my wife she was nervous, which was pretty funny. I caught her on video real quick, and she's just like giving me one of those, She's like, "Is this gonna be all right?" I'm like, "It's gonna be totally fine. I would rather be on a train any day than a plane, So,
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned cars, so we got to bring that up at least one time during the show, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So we kind of talked when we actually first met each other about the Shelby GT350.
Yeah.
So you're a Mustang fanatic like me.
Definitely a Mustang fanatic, an ex GT350 owner. I hate to say that, but priorities, I guess. But yeah, that is another impressive vehicle that impressed the crap out of me. And anybody who I gave a ride to, they were getting a good ride in it. So very, very impressive car. And I've had some pretty fast Mustangs. A couple of them had superchargers and turbos on them and things like that. But one of them was definitely faster than the GT350, but did not hold a candle to it in terms of like, fit and function and just all around, fun. Handling, acceleration, braking, looks is a huge. That Mustang looks like no other Mustang.
No, you're
finally we can say that a Mustang handles. You know, everybody always says, well, Mustangs are fast in a straight line, but they don't handle worth a damn. And that was somewhat true. You know what I mean? Especially in the '80s, I guess, with the Fox bodies. But that, you know, as you know, man, that car is one in a million. So.
Yeah, I like your Mach 1. It's awesome.
Yeah, so I'm hoping to get that car back. It's a 2004 Mustang Mach 1. It's right now it's at the shop getting a Vortex supercharger put on it, so it should have about 500 horsepower at the wheels.
That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
gonna be a
hoping to have
beast.
it back. Yeah, I'm hoping to have it back before Thanksgiving. I keep messaging the kid at the shop. You know, hey, how's I call it the well, the S box. I won't swear on camera, but you know, that's what I call it. How's the S box doing? You know, and he's always ha 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 ha. It's doing good, you know. And I don't want to press him too much because, you know, I know that the more he works on it, the more zeros will be added to the price tag. So I just told him to take his time, anyways. You know what I mean? And I got so many other things going on with the trains and work and the kids and things like that. So
Yeah,
good
yeah,
hands.
for sure. You got to put a video of that up on YouTube when it's all done.
Yeah, definitely. I have an Instagram channel for it, but I don't have a YouTube channel for it. I probably won't make a YouTube channel for it, but I'll definitely when it comes back, I'll definitely put it on the channel.
Yeah, you should for sure.
Yeah. Definitely.
John 2618 says he has an 03 Saline and he loves things.
Yep. I think I showed you the picture. I had a 2000 Saline, white car with the white wheels, and actually I had that one signed by Steve Saline himself, which
That's
was pretty
awesome.
cool.
That's really cool.
I had my middle son Brian there with me, and Steve Saline was more interested in talking to my son Brian than being there with the cars, which was pretty fun.
Well, if anybody has any other questions for Brian, we got about 15 minutes left in the show here. I did have something funny. If anybody if anybody decides to do a super chat, I had a funny Halloween related surprise. So we'll leave that open if it happens or not. Let's see what Russell Coons has to say. He says, "Hey Nick, I caught the NS Reading Lions Heritage Unit today. Cool." So Brian, what's your favorite just locomotive in general right now? Like that's on the railroads running. Got to think about that one.
That's a good question. Right now,
could be multiple answers.
Right. I do like. So you mean like any railroad, or like the class ones, or?
We'll just say any railroad in general.
Any railroad. I from being a cast, the Shays have definitely gained, a rating in my thoughts because I always thought they were kind of like a stepchild looking engine. You know what I mean? Because they're not typical with the side rods and especially if you look at them on the other side where there's no drive gear happening, they look kind of plain. But
right.
But being up close to them, and definitely seeing that exposed crankshaft on the side of the engine is just really impressive. But if it was like a modern day engine, I love the AC 6000, man. That thing just not a non-D-rated AC 6000 with 6,000 horsepower is just that thing takes the cake, and they're very kind of rough around the edges engines, because they're older. The newer engines like the ST70 ACE and engines like newer ones like that, the cabs are nice and quiet. The engine doesn't really rattle too much, but the AC 6000 is like, it's got all the power, but it lets it's not comfortable at all. Yeah.
So it looks like you got a couple maybe a couple new subscribers out of our chat here. Hopefully if anybody's hasn't subscribed to Brian, head over to his channel, Real Toy Trains. Click the subscribe button. You got a lot of, I think, what I'm assuming, you'll probably a lot of content coming up with your trip to Cass and then your layout build. That's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Really looking forward to all that.
Yep. The Cass video, I'm gonna try to do a little bit different where, clearly when I'm on the train, I couldn't really talk much because it's so loud. But I'm gonna try to kind of narrate and just kind of talk about each clip on Cass, so that way everybody can know like what's going on in the video. It's not just going to be a video of trains, So hopefully that works out good.
That's awesome. As Old Ohio Angler said that he saw a super chat from Vincent, and I maybe I must have missed it earlier in the show, but so since there was a super chat already. Thanks, Vincent.
That was pretty interesting, Nick. Is that your Halloween costume?
That's one of the old masks we had laying around. Nice. We have various ones in the house. You have any plans for Halloween this upcoming week? Any train videos or anything like that?
Maybe next year, definitely with the Halloween with the train videos. I'm definitely going to pick up some of your probably all of the Halloween flats. Those things are sick, man, with the strobe lights and the flickering. I love it. But typically I would do like a humongous type of setup at my house for Halloween and scare the crap out of the kids. But it's just, I think we're gonna still try to give out candy and things like that. But I'm just not sure what's gonna happen, which is too bad.
Yeah, it's a weird times we're living in.
Yeah.
So
what about yourself?
We have no plans at all.
Yeah.
Only thing I had planned was since the live show is usually on Sundays, I'm gonna try to move it to Saturday, so it's on Halloween.
Yeah.
And do like usually like 3 o'clock live show. We'll do something fun like this where we can chat next week with friends. Maybe we can bring in some other guests, people that if you want to wear a costume, we'll have a little Halloween costume contest and who gets rated the highest, and whoever wins will have some kind of prize put together for them.
Nice, that'll be cool.
So that's kind of what I'm thinking. And then I have a little side project that's Halloween related that I'm waiting on a few pieces to show up. Hopefully they come early this week so I can get that put together and then throw a video up too of that. It's gonna be pretty cool.
Cool, man.
I haven't even filled you in on that yet, so I'll tell you about it later this week.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll be texting.
Yep. Yeah, one of the things I wanted to ask either you or whoever is good at doing this, I know that I have kind of a logo for the channel, but I was thinking of coming up with something more, I guess what I have right now for the logo is just a photo that I took, and I think it's cool, but I'd like to actually come up with some kind of a logo for the channel. So I don't know if you or whoever's watching right now or can give me a suggestion that somebody to talk to kind of help me out a little bit. Nothing too fancy, just something basic that kind of catchy.
I think that's a good idea. Create yourself like a brand.
Yeah.
And something that's recognizable that you can continue using, and who knows where it takes you.
Right. Exactly.
So, and I kind of did that, years and years back, not really thinking much of it. I had a friend that helped me out with that logo, and it kind of changed it a couple times. I just recently updated to have a little bit of a brighter orange, like the Steelers and Pittsburgh colors. Or not orange, yellow. So yeah, but I think that's a great idea. But we still have about 8 minutes here. If anybody else has any last questions for Brian, um, I'm sure that you guys could think of a few. Uh, this is this is a good one here. RF says, "Why is there a fish aquarium and reptile terrarium on your layout?"
Uh,
That's funny.
that's a great question. So that's a turtle behind me. It's which one did you say it was, Nick? It was a slider, pink something slider. I
Yeah,
don't even know what it is.
I think it's a red-eared slider.
Yeah, yeah. So he's actually pretty old. I got him when he was about this big. He was tiny, and he was at our other house where we have lived before here, and we have so many pets in this house. It's not even funny. We have 125-gallon fish tank in my one of my son's rooms. We have a hedgehog. We have a tortoise. I can't even think what else. We have chickens outside. So the turtle over here kind of got banished to the basement. So once the bench work starts, I'm gonna have to move him to a shelf, another shelf somewhere. But he seems to like it down here. I mean, it's funny when I come downstairs to play with the trains or to do something downstairs. He jumps off his rock, where he sits under the light, and he comes over to the tank, and he wants food, and it's almost like he's saying hi to me. So I think he's gonna stay in the basement.
You should make a little pond on your layout and have the turtle tank in there
That would be
built
cool.
built into the layout.
That would be cool. I think it would be cool to have like a fish tank that actually had like a hole through the middle of it, and you could send a train right through the fish tank. I think that would be cool, but
That'd be cool. Yeah,
probably be expensive as all get out.
I used to be into fish tanks pretty heavily. Actually, I had a bunch of like saltwater tanks and freshwater tanks.
Yeah.
I had this huge, gigantic, like 220-gallon tank.
Wow.
And I had all different kind of saltwater fish. That was kind of a hobby I had,
Yeah.
like in my 20s before I started the train layout. And it's a lot of upkeep and maintenance.
Yeah.
Like I had a coral tank with like a coral reef and all the fish and everything. That was really hard.
Yeah. And the
But
coral's actually alive, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yep,
Wow.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. That's pretty crazy. And another thing a lot of people don't know is I had parrots at one point as well. Actually, in the room where the horseshoe curve is at, I had a whole room full of parrots.
You kidding me?
Yeah, I had blue and gold macaw and like cockatoo and a Amazon. I had probably about 8 parrots,
Wow.
and it's I should probably I hate always bringing it up because it's kind of a bad story because good and bad at the same time. But the furnace in the house was cracked, and I didn't know it was leaking carbon monoxide,
Oh.
and it wiped out the whole parrot room in like a second. So it was kind of a blessing in disguise, I guess.
Yeah.
Because the guy that came and was like, your furnace is cracked and it's leaking carbon monoxide. I could have killed your whole family.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's crazy. But I ended up losing all my birds.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's kind of sad. But um, train room turned into a train room now.
There you go. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. At least it didn't get up upstairs to you guys. That would have been. Oh man.
Yeah, and Lily was only she was only like 8 months old or something at the time.
Yeah.
So it was kind of scary. But
Wow.
yeah, it's so RF says he has parrots, dogs, cats, and chinchillas. Do you have any other pets, Brian? I guess since we're on the pet topic.
No, we had only chickens, but we recently got a rooster, which I don't understand why I got talked into that one. But he's I get talked into a lot of stuff around here, and that's why I kind of have the things that I have too. So you know what I mean? It's a give and take relationship. But yeah, the rooster's up at like I don't know 4:45 every morning. and thankfully now it's getting cold out, so our windows are closed. But yeah, he's pretty loud. But I mean, we live in a pretty country area, and there's a couple other roosters around my neighborhood. Anyways, I can hear them. So I don't feel like terrible about it for my neighbors. My neighbors are kind of spread out, anyways. But I mean, really, all he does is just kind of sit there and eat all the chicken's food and flap his wings, and
Nobody messes with him.
nobody's messing with him. Yeah. So
you're gonna have chicks running around before you know it.
No, I gotta get the eggs before the chickens lay on them. Yeah, or else there will be. Yeah, but no, that's it. That's it for right now. I've had, we used to have dogs and stuff like that, but my yard's so big and there's no fence, so I don't want to bother with that now. Yeah, I saw that comment. The roosters they're definitely pretty birds.
Yeah, that's cool. I have that little chicken coop on my layout over in the other room.
Yeah,
It's got up on the farm, it has chickens. I actually had chickens at one point too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
So it's
they're definitely pretty easy to take care of. They're almost self-sufficient. So
yeah, they are. They're really easy.
yeah, my coop, I have it planned out. I just haven't finished it yet. I'm gonna do like a water recovery system. So like when it rains out, it just goes into a rain barrel, and then from there it runs over to like the little pecking things where the chickens can get the water.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's probably on the next year's list.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it was nice having you on the show today.
Thanks for having me, man.
And I hope that anybody that catches the live stream later on and watches it heads over to your YouTube channel and subscribes. Make sure you hit the little bell notification button too, so you get notified whenever Brian uploads a video. And it's gonna be exciting to watch your layout come together and build that empire.
Definitely, man. Definitely. And I'm gonna try to think outside the box with a few things on it. So, um, just to make it kind of interesting and things like that. There's a lot to live up. There's a lot to live up to with your layout. With you get the whole horseshoe curve and stuff. That's like, you don't see that very often. So, I definitely want to do something that's unique on my end, so it kind of catches the eye of other YouTubers and keeps me busy down here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's something that's meaningful to you too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we'll go with this one last question here before I let you go. Russell Coon says, do you like steam engines or diesel engines more?
When I was a kid, I loved diesels because it's just like a diesels. I guess to little kids, maybe because the flashier paint on them and things like that. But now I definitely like steam engines better. And it's probably going to stay that way until I'm like in my 80s and 90s or things like that. But I love them. They definitely both have their place in the railroad. But definitely once you get up next to a steam engine that's running and you can just listen to it and how it's kind of sitting there breathing and things like that. Like I've heard a lot of people say like a steam engine is really like a living, breathing machine.
For sure.
And I guess as I got older and got more into all types of different machines, there's really nothing like a steam engine if you think about it. Everything else is either electric or diesel or gas. It's just basic. But steam engines are so intricate, and they do really breathe. So when the cast video comes out, I got some good video of the shays just sitting there, kind of doing their thing with all the different pumps going and then valves, and it sounds awesome. So
that's really cool. I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, thanks, buddy. I appreciate you being my first guest on the Meet the YouTuber show.
Anytime.
So we'll try to do some more of these in the future, and maybe if you're around, we can bring you in as an alternate guest.
Yep.
Interview some other people, and again, visit Real Toy Trains as Brian's YouTube channel. Subscribe to him. So I'll let you go, Brian. Thanks. Have a good evening.
All right, you too, guys. Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Nick.
I appreciate it. Talk to you later, buddy. All right, guys. So that was Brian, and his channel is Real Toy Trains. And so if you haven't subscribed to Brian yet, head over to his channel and hit the button, hit the like, and check him out. He's got a lot of good content and good content coming up in the near future for sure. With a railroad soon under construction, and like he said in the video here earlier, that he had a 100 subscriber special where he did a special video and showed his track plan, and so you can go over there and check that out and see what what it's going to look like for the future. So we're all looking forward to that. And again, thanks to everybody who tuned in today and watched. And I appreciate all the comments and questions. And hopefully we can do some more of these and let me know some feedback on how we did and what improvements we can make. And otherwise, I think it went pretty good. And I appreciate having Brian on the show and talking to everybody today. So I'll let everybody go. Hope you have a good evening. Thanks for watching. My name is Nick, and I'll see you guys next week. Talk to you later.